Hello, and welcome back to As the Rabbit Descends Down the Hole. We are going to start on a new chapter, a new story, some new lessons. This one is not one that's always told either. I mean, it is and it isn't, but we're going to look at it from a different perspective. We're going to talk about Jacob and Esau. However, we're going to really focus in on Esau's perspective, because I think he gets overlooked. And you think about it, he was a good kid too. Doesn't make sense, right? So let's start our journey. We're going to do a little bit of a flashback here, because we didn't really do a lot about Isaac. Not that Isaac is an interesting person, it's just there's not a whole lot with him to really dig into. He was pretty stable. However, there was an incident with his father that is most notable and needs to be talked about. So let's begin. The day was fading and the sun was setting. They were lighting a campfire, and Isaac sat there with his boys, Jacob and Esau. Rebekah's off, in the distance. And come here, boys. I need to tell you something. This is going to get interesting. I need to tell you a story that I really haven't shared with you guys. You heard about it, but I personally have not shared this. Great anticipation, Esau, he leans forward. Ooh, he's got something good for us today. Jacob, sitting there, okay. They got their food. Go ahead. Well, when I was younger, my father told me that we were going to go up and we were going to go worship on this mountain. I carried the wood. He carried a knife. And he was going to make a fire for a sacrifice. Esau looked at him and was like, knife. Did you guys have a ram or a sheep or something? I mean, what did you have with you? You didn't have nothing. So what were you going to sacrifice? I suppose it was probably going to be me. Or the Lord was going to provide. It was one or the other. Because I did hear my father say, we will be back. I distinctly remember hearing that. However, you got to remember, my father, not that he wasn't all there, because he was. There was an incident, in Egypt. See, he understood Egypt, and Egypt was in his thinking. And you have to remember, at this time, there's no scriptures, there's no councils or anybody that you can go to try to learn anything, that you didn't know. You heard what you heard and you believed what you believed, and they saw things that happened in Egypt, and sacrificing your first son was an Egyptian thing. But in any case, we will be back. So I just left it up to him. I didn't fight it. I just trusted him. I trusted in God that even if he tried to kill me, God would bring me back from the dead. Did you really believe that, Dad? Esau kind of looked at me. Are you being serious? You really believe that? Yeah. Jacob just kind of shook his head. You can see Jacob questioning the whole thing. I don't know. I think maybe his mind isn't working right. I didn't understand everything, but I just knew it. So we walked up there. No bitterness, no fear, no nothing. We went up there. Dad held that knife up to me. Your grandfather. And out, and a voice came So I could hear it clear as day. Stop. Look, I have a ram in the bush. Well, like I said, sons, I believed my dad, your grandfather. I believed him that we would come back. And I believed, even though I was confused and I didn't understand everything, I did believe that if nothing else, God would raise me from the dead and we walk down that hill and we would build an altar, a sacrifice to God for it. But why was Grandpa so, I mean, he seemed really eager. It's like, that, it was probably the Egyptian influences because they did that. So to him, this was nothing new, to hear that. It really wasn't. It's as odd as that may sound, these things happen. So Esau found a bit of peace with that story. He really did. Jacob, he just had questions after questions that God is just messing with you. Oh, God, tell you, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard before in my life. And you begin to see this wrestling with God early on. But he just kind of took it at face value. Okay, I'm with you. I got it. So early on, you can see there's a difference in their perspectives, in the way they see things, the way they view things, and the way they handle things. And after Jacob had this conversation with them, they, went to bed, woke up, on to their next day. Esau believing that God will provide no matter what. Jacob thinking, I got a score to settle with God because something's not right here. I don't believe it. And that's what we'll pick up on next week's episode.